Watch this brief video from Tucker Carlson, and I'll tell you why he has completely sold out.
Largest landmass in the world, and it's wildly diverse, linguistically, culturally, religiously. It's hard to run a country like that for 24 years, whether you like it or not. So an incapable person couldn't do that. He is very capable, and many of you know him, and you know that. What was radicalizing, very shocking, and very disturbing for me was the city of Moscow, where I'd never been, the biggest city in Europe, 13 million people. And it is so much nicer than any city in my country. I had no idea. My father spent a lot of time there in the 80s when he worked for the U.S. government and barely had electricity. And now it is so much cleaner and safer and prettier aesthetically. It's architecture, it's food, it's service than any city in the United States that you have to, and this is non-ideological. How did that happen? How did that happen? It's radicalizing for an American to go to Moscow. I didn't know that. I've learned it this week. To Singapore, to Tokyo, to Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
Okay, Tucker Carlson has officially sold out. And I tell you why. This is coming from somebody who's been his strong fan because I loved his programs on Fox News. He was telling the truth. He was not towing the line. He was, presenting us with the other side of facts. And I was a big fan of him. Until now, I said was. I am no longer a fan of. He's exposed himself for the money-grubbing, dishonest person that he is. The way he talks about Moscow, one would think that it is Tokyo. And he actually, like you saw in the beginning of this video, he actually compares Moscow to Tokyo. Now, as someone who's been to many places around the world, 151 countries and some 800 cities, I've been to Moscow, I've been to St. Petersburg, I've been to Vladivostok, I've been to Nizhny Novgorod, Ekaterinburg city, okay? To compare Moscow to Singapore and Tokyo, it's like comparing a used Hyundai to a brand new Bentley. I am sorry, but his BS has been revealed here. Tucker Carlson, don't think he's your friend. Tucker Carlson is, of course, now a big fan of Putin because Putin has catapulted him from where he was to a stratosphere. 150, 160 million views of his program just by accepting an interview. Of course, he would love Putin. And it all comes down to money. Ladies, gentlemen, don't ever think that any of these journalists, whether they're on your political side or not, have placed anything above money when it comes to the things they do and the things they say. Tucker Carlson has officially sold out. If it's talking about Moscow, of course they should be proud. Russia is the biggest landmass in the world. Yes, and about 60% of it is inhabitable because it's under constant freezing temperatures, like the top of Canada. Nobody wants to live there. And every Russian that can leave Russia does. Go to London, go to Phuket, go to Istanbul, go to any city around the world and you'll see Russians working there. I was in the country of Yemen, in the capital Sana'a, Yemen, and I found a Russian lady working in the hotel's, bookkeeping department. And I asked her, why are you here? She says, it's better than Russia. And Tucker Carlson says, Moscow is beautiful, clean city. It's just like Singapore and Tokyo. Yes, a city where the mention of the word war can get you 15 years in prison. And political opponents of Putin are either in jail or poisoned to death, tortured or threatened. And since the war started, anyone who has spoken against the war has found himself falling out of a window of a hotel to their death, etc., etc., etc. An average person, and an unsophisticated person, which sadly most people are, would listen to Tucker Carlson and say, "Oh yeah, Moscow is just like Tokyo and Singapore." Yeah, right. Why don't you go there and find out for yourself? I'm telling you, as a friend that you will never meet, never take anyone's words as face value. Go and find out for yourself. Go and visit Moscow. Actually, Moscow is an ugly city. Yes, I said it. It is an ugly city. St. Petersburg is much prettier. And guess why? Because Peter the Great, who created that city, invited European architects to design and build that city. Not Russian. It's not Russian know-how. It has nothing to do with Russia. It's the European architects. So if you go and see a lot of the buildings in St. Petersburg, it looks like a lot of the big buildings in Italy and in France, because those are the people who came there and built it. Yeah, but you won't find Tucker Carlson mentioning that because Putin might not like that. Putin, to think that to be against Putin, you are a leftist. I am the biggest enemy of the left and the woke. I'm a proud conservative. I'm not afraid of anyone to say that. A proud conservative. And given the chance between Trump and Biden, in a million years, I will vote for Trump 110 times. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Biden has driven this country, United States of America, to the ground. And the Democrats have driven our cities to the ground. You should just go to San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle, and other Democrat-run cities and see what they've done to our cities. But still, a Russian would give their right arm to go live in those cities, because there is something in the West that has never existed in Russia, and that is called freedom. Freedom. People in Russia are living in constant fear. If they can leave it, believe me, they do. I was in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, and I saw hordes of Russians living there. Now, this is not exactly a first world country. This is a third world country where their people are struggling. And I saw Russians there because they told me, hey, any kind of an open border, we escape. And go read the news. You don't have to believe me. Go read the news about the Russians trying to get into Finland, because Finland is the European country up north that has a border with Russia. There were so many Russians escaping to Finland that they put their army. Finland put the army on the border to protect their border. So do not take things for face value. Tucker Carlson has sold out, and I can understand it. Putin, by just accepting his interview, has catapulted him to the most watched journalist on the face of the earth right now. So of course he would praise Putin. Oh yeah, it's a big country, biggest landmass in the world. It's like Tokyo and Singapore. Right. Do you see any Singaporeans and Japanese trying to emigrate to live in Russia? Or do you see Russians giving their right eye and kidney to escape that country? No, Russia is not a great place to live. Nobody wants to go live there. It is a country under massive dictatorship, and it's a hellhole in many ways. Anywhere you go, you're going to see Russians that are escaping that country. Ask yourself why. Judge a country by how many people want to go to it and how many people want to escape from it. All the best.